Thanks for tuning in to the Old Dirty Basement. On today's episode, we're covering serial killer Aileen Wuornos. So if you're familiar with the movie Monster with Charlize Theron from 2004, that movie was based on Aileen's story, which is a crazy one. We go in depth to her childhood, leading up to all the murdering that happened later in life. It's a really, really interesting story. We hope you enjoy it. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to leave us that 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you may be, and leave us that written review on Apple. It really helps us out. Don't forget to check out our merch store. At the bottom of the description of the episode, there's a link in there. You can click on there, head over to the store, purchase some Old Dirty Basement sweatshirts, t-shirts, all that cool stuff. And don't forget to find us on Facebook and Instagram at Old Dirty Basement. And sit back and enjoy Aileen Wuornos.
This is the Old Dirty Basement, home to debauchery, madness, murder, and mayhem. A terror-filled train ride deep into the depths of the devil's den.
With a little bit of humor,
history,
and copious consciousness.
I'm your announcer, Shallow Throat. Your hosts are Dave, Matt, and Zap. I love you, Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right.
Hey, this is Dave.
Matt and Zap.
And welcome to the Old Dirty Basement,
where every week we cover a true crime,
murder,
or compelling story.
So sit back,
relax,
and comprehend.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Old Dirty Basement. I am Matt. With me always is Dave and Zap.
Yeah, man.
How's it going?
He is here.
And we're all here.
Yes,
Right.
we are.
Yes, this is a cool story to cover. Zap, you had a request for this, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm happy to take this opportunity to thank Autumn.
Thank you, Autumn.
Thank you.
Yeah, one of our biggest fans for recommending this.
Also a great time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy autumn.
Right.
In fact, in this autumny weather, we're getting some
Yes.
sloppy, sleety snow right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But all the
Nasty
leaves,
out.
all the leaves have fallen. We're on our way to winter.
It's coming, yeah.
But before we get to winter, one more time, want to thank Autumn for this great recommendation for Aileen Wuornos.
Right. Yeah, the monster. You
The
saw
Monster,
that movie?
yes.
They did that Charlize Theron. You guys saw the movie? I'm assuming.
I have not seen the movie.
Yes,
It's
I
really,
have.
really
Yes.
well done. I mean, she won awards for that, for the transformation she had to go through to play the part.
She does not look like herself.
Charlize Theron gained weight. She changed her whole look. I mean, obviously there was makeup as well.
And her teeth were
Right.
rotty and the makeup.
It was makeup, yeah, but she really went above and beyond for the part.
I gotta
Transformed
believe-
her body and everything.
I gotta believe, having familiarized myself with this woman, with what this woman went through, and we're gonna get into it, of course. But what this woman went through, and then what this woman did, that's got to be an incredible role, like an incredibly difficult role for an actress to play or actor.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was. I mean, but she did a great job with
Hell
it.
of a job.
Christina Ricci. I'm
Ricci.
sorry. She's in it as well as the girlfriend, I guess
Mhm.
you would say, of Aileen Wuornos.
What was her name?
The
Tareen. What was it?
was it Tareen? I don't know. We'll get to it at some point. But the Tyria
Moore.
Okay, yeah. But she did a great job too. It was
Mhm.
like really,
Tyria-
really well done.
Both were
Tyria
actor.
Lazon down the road. That I
Tyria
must travel.
Lazon.
Yeah, Tyria.
The only thing I noticed with the movie is that they kind of jumped from. It seems like the time period of when she met Tyria to the murder started happening was like a 4 or 5 year period maybe, and in the movie they made it seem like it was within weeks.
But it
they
was a
basically
quick.
sped it along.
It was a quick killing spree. It was within months.
right, but what I'm saying is from the time they met.
They met. Yeah, they made it seem.
I don't think it was instantaneous. But
No,
maybe,
those two were Thelma and Louise in it together for, I want to say 3 maybe 4 years. But I can understand what you're saying. Like the movie made it seem like it was just, the next day.
Instantaneous.
Well, it's time
yeah, I get it.
constricted
It's
for
a
time.
2-hour movie. You gotta push it along.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm real excited to get into this. So I guess if you guys got anything else before we get into it, or
No, just let's start off on Aileen
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 Wuornos.
Carol Wuornos.
Yeah, Aileen Carol Wuornos, born Aileen Carol Pittman
Yes.
on February 29th, 1956. Her mother was only 14 years old when she married her father, who was 18 at the time.
Yeah, I did read about that. That's crazy to
I
think
mean,
about.
There's a friend of ours with whom we went to high school.
Mm-hmm.
He married his wife when he was 20 and she was 18.
Oh,
Yes,
for
I've
real?
heard about this.
It was
Yes.
a dry wedding.
I know who you're talking about.
You
Yeah.
got to keep it dry.
Yeah. But even that seems a little more, I don't know. Like
That's-
20 and 18 is,
That's very young though.
14 and 16, you said, or 14 and 18, you said. I'm
Yeah,
sorry for
14 and
this.
18. Her mom was 14 and her father was 18 when they married.
But it wasn't a very strong marriage.
No,
at
not-
14 and 18.
Not very strong.
No.
You're gonna get it's tough.
Am I going? Is it
No.
a little foreshadow,
I'm
or-
saying I know that foreshadow is absolutely accurate. I mean, think about this. Her mother's 14. She's just barely getting her wiggles out, and now she's handcuffed to a marriage here for the rest of her life.
But the father, yes, 18, and well, he was said to he spent most of his life in prison.
He did indeed, but through anxious to get their family and their lives started, almost to the day 9 months later, Aileen Wuornos' older brother was born.
So those children,
Yeah, and then a year and a half or so later, Aileen was born. So Aileen was born when her mom was 16.
16. That's, yeah,
that happens.
And her father was in jail at the time.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Because then he what did he rape somebody or like rape the kid?
That was he raped a 7-year-old later on.
Oh,
yeah, that was a later charge.
I got you. Okay.
Always like what a lifer, always in and out of jail.
Yep. Institutionalized.
Yes, that's what I was looking for.
Product of the system.
Right.
Addict on alcohol.
Right. So she started out behind the 8 ball, basically.
Yeah,
Yes.
and at the ripe young age of 2 months old, shockingly, her parents divorced.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, her dad's in lockup, and mom's like, "I got enough of this. I'm out."
But mom didn't want much of it either.
No, in fact, she didn't, because in January of 1960, Aileen was abandoned by
Yes.
her mother. Her and her brother
At
were just
4
Her and
abandoned.
her 1-year-old brother left to the grandparents.
Grandparents.
Who would you think grandparents? You look like loving, caring,
Sure, nurturing.
nurturing. Yeah, that couldn't. It might have been a saving grace for her.
You would think. But these
going
were
with
also the same
grandparents.
grandparents that let their daughter get married at 14 years old.
Right.
So this is not a good road either.
No, and not, I don't want to say not surprisingly, but I guess to add fuel to the fire, her grandparents were both alcoholics.
Yes,
Yeah.
amongst other things.
Yeah. I mean, they did the right thing. They legally adopted both of the kids.
They did.
All right. So let's get this family unit going.
So are we still sticking with the grandparents?
I mean, she's going to stick with the grandparents.
Because Dave, as you said, the grandfather.
Right. He was like pawning her off, correct?
Yeah, he
On
was
friends.
prostituting his 7, 8.
Oh, we'll get there.
Oh,
So
okay. I want to hold off on that.
before she was prostituted, in that little flash forward, by the time she was 11, she was prostituting herself.
Yeah, that's a part that I heard about, like hanging out with teenagers, local teenagers,
Yeah.
and stuff for
So
attention and stuff.
She would go to school and like in school, make prostitute deals in school, trading herself or pleasures with herself for drugs, smokes, and food.
Right.
So she was an entrepreneur, pretty much.
Yeah, she was bartering.
Yes. And she knew that's the way that boys would pay attention to her, girls, whatever. And she knew that's how she could get money because her grandparents weren't giving her shit.
Yep.
One of her first encounters with like an older group of kids that they used to hang out at this place. I forget what they called it, but it was like out in the woods somewhere. And these kids were, and she was trying to fit in wherever she could. She would take any attention that she could get, and she would ask them for beer and cigarettes and whatever. And one of the older boys there, it was probably like 16, 17, or teenager, older than her, who was 11, took her out in the woods and performed sexual acts with her, and then gave her beer and cigarettes. And it clicked in her head like, oh, well, this is how you get attention. You get stuff,
And she was used to the sex part her whole life, so it didn't bother her at all.
Right.
And she thought people that loved her or cared about her did these things to her, i.e. her grandfather,
right.
who did the same shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she was just, she didn't start off on a very good foot.
No, she had everything going against her. So,
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I had read that she ended up doing some naughty, sexy things with her brother.
Yes, I was going to say about that too.
This, of course, was after, and now we're catching up to the foreshadowing. She had been assaulted and beaten repeatedly by her grandfather. So it's said that
So the grandmother she was an alkie, so she was like passed
she
out
was
on the couch.
unconscious.
She's a
Absolutely.
wino.
Yeah.
And then grandfather, because he, drank a little bit more, and that's terrible.
Yep.
man.
And so before he would beat her or rape her, this is her grandfather. He would force her to strip out of her clothes. Just, hey, take it all off. Now I'm going to beat you, or I'm going to rape you. And then, lo and behold, in 1970, at the ripe young age of 14, the same age that her mother was when her mother had gotten married, she got pregnant by a friend of her grandfather's.
Yes, yeah.
After that friend of her grandfather's raped her.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, so she took the child, who was a boy,
Okay.
to term and ended up giving him up for adoption. So after that had happened,
That would be a rough ride on the DNA test. No.
yeah, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Look, unrelated. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, what's that? What
what's
are they
that?
called?
Wuornos?
What are the name of those tests?
Yeah.
The,
23andMe or
23andMe. The
What's the other one?
Ancestry.
Ancestry.com.
That's
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have kept their mouth shut with the 23andMe
Right.
and the Ancestry because
Right.
it's fucking up a lot of families, man. You
Well,
have to let
did
that
you
shit go.
Dude, yeah.
No, I heard stories. Actually,
What-
I heard a story from you. All
Yeah, about
and
a
there's
friend of
been-
ours.
Yeah, and there's been a couple stories that I've heard at work where people are like that's not even my brother.
Right.
Oh, and they're finding out. Like,
Yeah, like holy
Yes.
shit! My dad was running around my mom. Here's a picture of the other kid who looks like me.
There's a documentary on Netflix about a doctor that was a fertility expert, and he was inseminating women in the 70s and 80s with his own semen.
Yeah.
And basically, unknowing to these people, they thought they were getting
Their husbands,
or the husband or a donor.
yeah, donor.
He was impregnating all these women. And then they come to find out over, now they're doing these DNA tests. All these people in this so many square miles are like related to each other
Yeah.
because this guy has like so many offspring. And it's a huge thing. It was on Netflix. It's sickening to think because they would go in, he'd go in another room, get a fresh sample.
I hope they don't hit him for child support.
No, I mean,
You're
it's,
gonna have to get another job.
There's a look. I know a thing or two about math, but man,
yeah.
you're talking about trying to split hairs in a lot of different directions.
And think about this. There's possibility that brothers and sisters don't even know they're related and they end up
Correct.
getting married down there. And that
Yeah.
was the worry. Like they're looking at each other like, so, but back to what he said. Yeah, that can.
Just I would. She does have a offspring out there, and to know or to find out, it would hurt.
Right.
That's some quiet time in the shower.
Right.
So hey, if you were adopted, stay the hell away from 23andMe.
Yeah.
You never know what you're gonna find.
You don't.
Or if 23andMe is listening, we really enjoy your product.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah, thank you.
So so she had the kid in a fashion not uncommon at the time, and by that I mean she isn't the first one to have a kid out of wedlock at a young age.
No.
So back in the day, when a woman would get pregnant,
She go to Auntie Mabel's.
she would go away for
Yeah.
the summer, or she would have to go. She would be sick, or had to go again. She would just be out of sight for months. All of a sudden, she comes back and everything's fine. It's like nothing happened. So in Eileen's case, she did exactly that. She went and lived at a home for single mothers, basically like a boarding house for single mothers. Had the kid, and now she's right back to life again.
Did they back then? Was there no red flags raised that there's a 14-year-old that's pregnant and who's the father and all that? Was there no investigation, or was it just something that she?
I gotta believe that in her case. Now, again, I wasn't there. I don't know any of the police records or anything like that. But I would imagine you're going to have to start a he said, she said, and you're talking the 60s here, or yeah. The 60s or in the very late 60s, early 70s.
Right.
It was a man's world.
Right.
So, who's this girl? Who is this girl who also has been known to prostitute herself in exchange for drugs, cigarettes, and food at school?
Yeah.
And all this was taking place in Michigan. We're not even close to
Florida.
getting down south yet.
No,
This
that's
is all
way
in
later.
Michigan.
Yep.
So not long after the kid, she goes back to school, but then dropped out of school a few months later, right after her grandmother, or right around the time her grandmother died of, shockingly, liver failure.
Okay. From drinking.
Yeah.
Or she just could have had a bad liver. Life deals you cards.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fair. Look at poor Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, never smoked
Not a smoker.
in his life.
Gets esophageal cancer.
It happens, man.
Happens, man. It's a touchy subject. So about a year or so later, she's still living with her grandfather, her last remaining guardian. He ended up kicking her out when she was 15. So he kicks her out. She's 15.
That's horrible, man.
So he kicks her out, and where does
she needs to get out of there. Yeah.
And where does she go? She goes to live in the woods near her grandfather's house.
Just hanging out there.
That's where she's living, in the woods. 15. And
I lived in the woods near a friend's house for about 3 weeks.
Was it 3 weeks?
I think 3 weeks.
Why'd you do that?
In a tent.
I remember that.
Just camping?
Kind of.
Or were you hiding out?
It was, I don't know what it was. It's just, I guess, laziness. I don't know.
Were you on the run or something?
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
Just, yeah.
So
like,
for another day, I guess.
Hey, this would be a fun place to chill for a couple of weeks.
Were you stalking them or something?
No, it wasn't.
Well, why were you out in the woods?
It wasn't even out in the woods. It was behind like a friend's house.
Okay.
It wasn't even far.
He was supporting a friend.
Okay.
I was like, helping a friend out, man.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
So this broad is living in the woods.
It happens.
And she's making her money, as we had mentioned one more time, prostituting herself.
Right.
Well, that's what she knew. Like, I think her occupation was prostitute.
Hey, look, it's, if she couldn't get a job, if she does it right, she's sitting on $1 million.
It's the oldest occupation, right?
There
Is
you
that
go.
what they say?
There you go.
Isn't that what they say? But it's what she knew, I guess. So
Not long, well, I should say, relatively speaking, not long after her criminal career starts. I mean, her real criminal career, the actual getting arrested part.
So prostitution.
So she went from prostitution and stuck with prostitution at 18 years old. She got arrested for a DUI, disorderly conduct, and firing a .22 pistol from a moving vehicle.
Yes.
wow.
Yeah, so she's starting out right.
And also criminal assault. She had armed robbery charges. There was grand theft auto.
Oh, there's a couple of grand theft autos.
Much like the video game.
Yeah.
And suspected of stealing a revolver and ammunition. So
Jeez.
This was all at the 18-year-old John?
I don't know if it was all at 18, but these are just some of her criminal charges
Oh, yeah.
while she was still chilling in town.
Oh, for shit, yeah, absolutely. So, all right, so that was at 18, and that was still in Michigan. At 20, she hitchhiked her way to Florida.
There she went. Yeah, and I think that was
Because of the winters, they said that, it was
Michigan's cold, man.
It is,
in
yeah.
1976. You can't work the streets in Michigan in November, December, January.
No.
You got to look for something else to do.
Now, however, I am a big fan of sweater weather. There is
no
something
doubt.
magical that
Just when
sweaters.
it's a little brisk.
There's something magical that sweaters do.
Right.
I don't think it's sweater anymore, though. I think it's more of a sweat shirt.
Either
instead of-
way.
yeah.
So when last we left at 18, she was arrested for DUI, disorderly conduct, firing a pistol out of a moving vehicle. 2 years later, she hitchhikes to Florida.
That was in 1976.
1976.
That was a special year.
That is a special year.
Super special.
She's checking every box as far as crime goes, it seems like.
Well, she
Like,
has
she's
a
not-
lot. I mean, she gets into the bigger boxes, but
Yeah.
she's checking the little ones.
I mean, she's just doing everything now. I
Well,
mean, no matter what it is.
What else is she going to do?
Yeah.
She doesn't have
True.
a day job.
No, I know. I'm just saying. It's
Okay,
crazy
but
how
we're-
much
we're-
she got into by 20.
Yeah, by
but
20.
it's not crazy because look how she was brought up.
Right.
So it's not crazy at all. She knows nothing else but to
Mhm.
Yep.
react like this.
Yep.
To
I should
act
just say
like
it's
this.
sad, I guess.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It is.
It's a sad upbringing, sad that she was
It's
brought up
certainly
like
crazy to us because it's not something we were ever exposed to. It's not
Right.
something we did.
Mm-hmm.
Like we would look in the newspaper, for the want ads to find a job, or we would go this out of the other place, ask a buddy of ours, hey, or whatever, you're a kid,
Yeah, you got connections or you know people. And
you'll
you know,
find a job.
Right, you have stability of a family and a home life, and
Right.
and they're going to help you along. And she really had none of that.
None.
But none of the, I mean, even some of the serial killers that we've already talked about have a way better upbringing already.
Yeah,
than-
I mean, there was always
than
a little.
she did. I
there-
mean, a little bit,
there's
but that's
stuff-
any family. Everybody
Yeah.
got their shit, man.
Yeah, there were things like Dahmer with his family.
Yeah.
His mom was a little off, but nothing like
Nothing
this.
like
this
this.
is one of the worst I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
This woman was doomed.
Mhm.
I was just going to say what Dave had said and what you just said, doomed. There was nothing going for her at all.
Mhm.
And I think once that's taught or ingrained in your mind, you really don't know anything, especially since she was born.
Mhm.
And it is sad.
But she did have her private parts, which worked out for her,
Right,
at least from, pay the bills.
right.
And by
Gotta
bills,
pay
I
bills.
mean, buy some food.
Mm-hmm.
You got to eat.
20 years old, hitchhikes her way to Florida, thumbs her way to
The whole
FLA.
way.
Ambitious.
Hey, it's warmer down there.
Yes.
So down in Florida, she meets a 69-year-old yacht club president,
This guy's, yeah.
Mr. Lewis Fell.
The third.
The third, the fifth.
Now this is 69 years old. She's 20.
Wow.
So this was a passionate romance. This was love, just on
Love at first
fire.
sight.
On
Right.
fire. They got the two of them married not long after.
Yes.
Reminds me of that. What's the famous one? The big husky blonde chick that married
the guy in the wheelchair.
Oh, wait.
Anna.
And
Are you talking about, yeah, I know you're talking about.
she was a Playboy model.
yes.
And Nicole Smith.
Anna Nicole Smith.
Bam.
She died and she passed away.
Yeah, she did
Yeah.
pass away. God rest her soul.
She's
Also,
dead as fried chicken.
but she married that man who was 89.
You were saying, I was thinking of Bridget Nielsen, but
No,
When you said-
Bridget Nielsen was married to
she was Flava Flav.
so-
Flavor Flav, yeah.
Flava Flav.
and also Rambo.
And Dolph Lundgren. She was married to
I
him.
thought she was married to Stallone back when he did Cobra.
Wasn't she? Or no, she was just with Dolph Lundgren in the movie.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But she was married to
That
you're
was
right, you're
Rocky
right.
Four.
She was Red Sonja.
Red Sonja. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Big Sonia.
yep.
So these two get hitched, and while he's off on the boats
Love.
doing whatever he's doing at the yacht club, this one's out at their local bars. This Aileen is out at the bars.
Slang and tang.
Well, she's getting into fights. Ended up going to
Sling a tang.
slang. Oh, I got it. The
Yeah.
slang and tang is another word for prostitution.
Yes.
Slang and tang. So this woman ended up going to jail for assault. And again, while, old Grandpa Fell is out at the yacht club. So,
Yachting away.
but on the topic of assault, so when she's not busy getting into bar fights, in the meantime, she's in the process, not even in the process, she was busy beating her new husband with his own cane.
Yes, with
Oh,
his
for
cane.
real?
Yeah, he would beat her. Or she would beat him.
She would beat, give me that cane, and just
Yeah,
start
she would grab the
beating
cane.
him.
Yep. I did read that. And that was one of her charges, right? She was
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
charged for that.
So after a few weeks of marriage, so think about this. They're married a few weeks, and she's already beaten him with a cane. After a few weeks, he's already getting a restraining order against her.
She thought he was a pinata or something. Try not money out of him or whatever.
And of course, so to top this madness all off, to put an end to this, after a lovely, I'm sure, blissful 9 weeks of, again, wedded bliss, Wuornos and Fell annulled their marriage.
Oh man. I mean,
she fell out of love.
yeah. What do you figure? He's 69, she's 20, he's blinded.
I mean, there's nothing to
by it.
figure.
Right. You know what's going on, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, his
'Cause-
20-year-old wife is beating him with his own cane.
Right.
What else is he gonna do?
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? Go to the yacht club and say, "Oh man, I love my new wife."
Well, if
Yeah.
After his buddies are asking him why he's limping a little more than he used to. Now he's got 2 canes.
Right.
yeah, if she's beating him with a cane, like she's like, come get me.
Yeah.
You're not gonna catch me.
Yeah, right. That's a big spread in age there. Like
Yeah,
49.
well, we
49
know.
years, man.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
It was the love.
Well, after that,
It was the love.
was it? It had to be.
It had to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's
They had that old love.
mhm.
So after a failed stint in Florida, she thumbs her way back to Michigan. But she did start to get a liking for going to bars, starting fights.
Was this July 14th in Antrim County?
Could be.
Okay.
If you're talking about the part where she ended up getting charged with assault and disturbing the peace for throwing a cue ball at the bartender's head.
Yeah,
Was this one of those biker bars?
that's what she did. That was kind of like what we say always the MO. She did enjoy going to the biker bars because that was kind of her crowd.
Yeah, I remember hearing a part where she kind of, is that coming up where she kind of got into that whole crowd of bikers and stuff and kind of.
No, that comes about a little bit later.
Is that later
That's
on?
a little bit
Okay.
later on in the
A
story.
little bit later when she meets her true love.
Oh, okay.
But this, this in Michigan, like that, she like, with the cue ball or whatever, a billiard ball.
That would hurt. That would
Yes.
hurt bad.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's not even like a baseball that at least has a leather thing on the outside.
Right. To pad it a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, not long after the cue ball to the old bartender's dome.
Ironically, she disliked balls.
Eventually.
Yeah.
She didn't dislike him too much if she was willing to accept money for it.
Right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Anyway, not long after that little cue ball incident, her brother Keith died of the Val Kilmer esophageal cancer.
Yeah, it was like 21. Like
Yeah,
real
man.
young, right?
Yeah, he was young. He was definitely young. As a result of his death, she ended up receiving $10,000 of life insurance proceeds, which shocks the hell out of me.
Yeah.
That shocks me. To be clear, it shocks me because this one, Aileen, went in the direction of, I don't give a shit. Ink and paper, professionalism, I don't know, life planning. well, I don't know, a real job, something to leave to somebody. That's not anything, nothing I'm concerned with at all.
I'm surprised that he would have insurance. Like, was he as like we didn't really talk about what his life path was after all this. So I wonder, like, what, like, he must have had it together enough to have insurance, life insurance.
I think in the movie, doesn't like she go to like meet him when he is dying, and he said, "I am taking some money out for you." Wasn't that a thing in the movie? I don't know if that was true or not.
I don't remember that. I watched about half of the movie and I didn't see him in it.
Yeah,
This is
she
what
goes.
I
get
saw
for
it
not
years
watching the
ago.
movie.
She meets up with him, and they talk about that because he knows he's going to die. He doesn't really have anybody to leave money
Leave
to.
it to.
So he did. Yeah, he wanted to help her.
I saw the movie in 2004 when it came out, and then I just watched a little bit of it the other day just to kind of get refreshed. But I didn't finish it, so it
But
probably
that,
wasn't.
yeah, that was in the movie. Her going to, and like you're looking at, and you think he's like some 80-year-old guy again or something because he has the cancer.
trach in.
Yeah, but he's like, I'll do whatever I can to help you because he knew where they came from.
Right.
You know what I mean?
She had
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with the life insurance proceeds, she quickly took that money to pay a DUI fine
Good.
for which
Responsible.
she was obligated, and then she spent the rest basically on jewels, clothes, and a brand new car, which she wrecked not long after she bought it.
Wow.
They're going to say freebasing cock.
Easy
Yeah.
come, easy go.
Yeah.
Easy come, easy go. Let's see. Let me do the math here. So 56, she was born, puts her at this. So she's approaching 26 at this point.
Okay.
So it is interesting. I hate to call this a fun fact. So this this woman, as we know, has already had this terribly checkered and troubled past. Between the ages of 14 and 22, she had attempted suicide 6 times.
I didn't read that.
Yeah, I didn't know
That's
that.
a good. That's a good fact.
In which way? Like, in what way was she like taking pills, or did they say
She at one point, I know she had stabbed herself in the stomach,
Oh,
like in her own gut.
Oh wow.
what, like a ancient warrior.
Yeah,
Like an
exactly.
ancient
That's
Japanese,
right. The warrior's death. That's right. That's right. That was one of the 6 instances. I'm not familiar with any of the other 5.
Other way, yeah, that's crazy.
Again, a horrible life growing up. It's probably something that she thought about numerous times.
Looking to escape.
Yeah.
Indeed. So, at the ripe young age of 25, in 1981, she had made her way back to Florida. So she loves that. She's a snowbird.
Right.
She was arrested in Florida for robbing a convenience store where she stole $35, 2 packs of cigarettes.
And she was like in a bikini, they said. Right?
Okay, good for her.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
She
was
might have
walking.
been slang and tang.
But she's in Florida. What else are you going to wear?
Yeah, she was in a bikini and she was walking barefoot down the street with the money in one hand and the gun in the other hand when the cops found her, and she got arrested for that.
She not only got arrested, she spent a year
Yep.
in prison for that, for 2 packs of smokes and $35. A few years later, 1984, she was arrested for attempting to pass forged checks at a bank in Key West. Now she's getting into white collar stuff.
Right.
In 1985, she was named a suspect in the theft of a revolver and associated ammunition with it, which was later discovered. A year later, 1986, she was arrested and charged with car theft, resisting arrest, and obstruction of justice. So the obstruction of justice part was where she flashed a fake ID, which was actually her aunt's.
Oh man.
Okay. Yeah, she
What was
did. She did have a bunch of aliases that she did use, which kept her
Kind of off the radar.
Yeah, she kept her kind of off the radar. She had Suzanne Lynn Bolhavik, Lee Bolhavik, Sandra Kresh, Cami Marsh Green, which was a big one that'll come into play.
Yeah, with the pawn shop.
And Lauren Kristen Grody. Those were all. And Lee, I think she used Lee
I
for
know
a lot of stuff.
after prison, she started going by Lee. That's the name she kind of went by then.
Interesting.
Short for Aileen. Lee.
Because if you watch the movie Monster, that's what she. Yeah. That's what Christina Ricci's character calls her Lee the whole time and all that.
Oh, that's love.
Yeah.
That's love.
And I think in what Zap was talking about in 1986, that was the year that she met the love of her life, correct?
So we're getting there, man.
Oh, okay.
So
jumping.
the year of 1986 was a hell of a year for Aileen.
It was.
So she was already, again, we had mentioned she was charged with car theft, resisting arrest, and obstruction of justice for flashing her aunt's ID.
What was she flashing the ID for? Like for
because the cops. So the cops
the cop pulled her over.
Cop had pulled her over, and they had found a .38 revolver and a box of ammunition in a car that she had stolen.
Oh, wow.
Now, the thing is, the cops came after her because she had robbed a guy at gunpoint, and this guy told the cops. And so, look, man, this woman, she acted as a prostitute. She came on to me, and, all of a sudden, instead of prostituting, she, pulls out a gun and demands give me $200.
Right.
He tells the cops, they go find her, where, again, at the end, the car theft, resisting arrest, and the obstruction of justice. And again, they found her in a stolen car with a .38 revolver. Not good. No. But
she can't catch a break.
Yes, she can. All hope is not lost.
Oh, that's true. That's
because
true.
the year of 86, this is her. She's 30 years old now.
She's aging.
This was a great.
Mature.
This was the turning point for Aileen. I'm shedding a tear. She met her new bestie, the love of her life, Tyria Moore.
Is that how you say it? Tyria.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would call it Tyria, Tyria.
She was a hotel maid.
She was a hotel maid, but as a flashback for what the three of we do, they met at a gay bar
in Daytona, Florida,
named Zodiac.
Oh, okay.
How
I
about
thought you were going to
that?
say Old Dirty Basement.
That would have been something.
or Pink Lizard.
or Damaritaville.
Damaritaville.
It's a very Floridian. Yeah, I like that.
Damaritaville.
Yeah, so these two lovebirds, this Thelma and Louise, ended up moving in together. And while Tyria was a hotel maid,
she had no money.
No money. So Aileen ended up paying the bills by virtue of prostitution, slang and tang.
Yep. The easy way to make money. But is it? Is it?
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
It is very dangerous. And the way she would go about it, like hitchhiking, like not hitchhiking, but she'd stand on the side of the road by an exit and kind of like act like she was hitchhiking, and guys would pull over. And that's kind of how she would.
But those guys, they knew what they were getting into also.
Yeah.
It's not like they weren't Johns.
I mean, you think of a prostitute, like usually like I picture them on a street corner or something like that, like working a corner, but she was just out on the highways, like somebody coming by, and now she's mobile. She's getting in the car and going somewhere, you know.
Well, she could have ended up dead just as easy.
My God, yeah. I can remember being a kid all the way through, gosh, I would say the mid to late 90s, basically when once mobile phones became a constant in people's lives. And I'm talking, your flip phones all the way, your little Nokias, whatever. But before that became a constant and regular thing, I remember seeing hitchhikers all of the time.
Especially down that little area you lived on there.
Yeah,
going right down that street, you would see some every so often. I remember going.
Yeah, that corridor on Route 230 between High Spire and Steel.
Yes.
They locally, colloquially, they call it no man's land.
Right.
You would definitely see people back and forth with there.
And a Smitty's pretzel guy selling Smitty's
That's
pretzels.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I love those pretzels.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But
so I guess I say that thinking, like, it went away. Like, I don't see hitchhikers anymore. Does everybody have a phone now, or can everybody call a friend now?
I think with Uber and stuff like that, maybe, and I don't know.
But so people are hitchhiking because they don't have any money.
There's no money. True,
yeah.
So, calling a friend, having a friend pick you up, you still got to have a phone, which costs you money, a monthly fee, I would imagine.
Right.
Unless it's some kind of Obama phone or whatever.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so how are they? You're right. Like, what happened to all those people?
Right. People are still broke, but people still want to go from point A to point B. So how do they do it?
Well, no, I think a hitchhiker, they would not get picked up today unless you were maybe a John.
That's correct.
But I don't think anybody's picking up anybody.
No. It's very similar to so people still have car trouble, right? Car trouble still exists. Your car is going to break down. You're going to get a flat tire. You might be an elderly woman that has a flat tire, a blown tire, and you might be old enough where you don't have a phone.
True.
So if you're pulled out, or if your car's messed up or whatever, and you're on the side of the road, nowadays you're shit out of luck. People don't stop anymore. At least in Pennsylvania, they don't.
No, yeah, you're right.
I don't think anywhere across the country.
Well, the problem is, I think you can be liable now for, you're trying to do good sometimes, and now we live in such a, would you say, litigious?
Absolutely.
That you can get sued for trying to do the right thing, you think of an accident and you pull somebody out of a car or something. Oh, well, you broke my arm when you pulled me out. You know what I mean?
Or helping somebody with a tire.
Or
If
You
the
ripped
car
my
would,
shirt as you pulled me out of this burning car,
Yeah.
man.
Right.
You owe me a shirt.
or if
Yeah.
the car would
Sue you.
fall on their hand, break their
Right.
hand, that's all your fault because he pulled over and tried to help me. He didn't know what he was doing.
Right, but you bring up that is a very good point. Where are the hitchhikers at? Because I have not seen any.
Where did they
either
go?
way. Yeah.
Where did they go? And is it still is one's ability to be a prostitute, is that now hindered because of mobile phones? Because people don't pick up hitchhikers anymore, or because of this, that, the other thing? Maybe because it's a 24-hour news cycle and people are just scared shitless to be around strangers.
I do know they have like those lot lizards. They hang out at the truck
I can
stops and
promise
stuff.
you, they still exist.
Oh yeah,
Promise.
Oh, I know. I've seen them. Like I've seen.
We all
I've
go to
heard
work.
stories.
We all go to work early in the morning. We stop
Yeah.
at places like the Love's truck stops, places, and you see them.
That-
Yeah.
And it's getting colder now, so
Yep.
not as much. But they do
Right.
have those little gambling centers where you see a couple hanging out.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Some of them are even setting up their own little trailers there,
Mhm.
like their own little campers. I'm not
Right.
even kidding.
Like
they
for
just
setting
I
up
haven't
shop.
seen the camper yet.
Well, sure. My God, yes. So when a truck pulls into a truck stop, if I'm not mistaken, like if they want to stay overnight, like, they have to pay a lot fee.
Mhm.
Like it's like taking a camper to a campsite or some shit like that. If you want to hook up electric or hook up water or hook up whatever, like there's a lot of hookups that these trucks can get. They're
So I think they have like now a 12-hour. They have to have a 12-hour downtime. I believe is what it is
okay.
because of driving and stuff.
because of the driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 12 on, 12 off.
Mm.
I mean, depending. So if you're doing over the road or cross country or whatever it is, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
There are some guys I know that drive for. There's a guy I know that drives for UPS, and he had done a route. Now he's over the road now, so he goes from hub to hub to hub. In a couple of days, within a day or two, because they travel in partners with partners.
Piggyback, I think that's called.
He makes his way to Albuquerque and then comes back. And I think that whole process between the two of them, I want to say it takes 3, maybe 4 days
Okay.
tops.
And they're rotating.
And that might even be a big estimate.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that truck is moving 24 hours a day.
Completely. Yeah.
24 hours.
So I'm sure they've come across that. They've probably seen it at truck stops. and stuff
Correct.
like
And
that.
again, when I say I know that there's lot lizards, like the stories this guy will tell me is where you hear, like, again, once I heard about that very notion that somebody has a camper, again, just a little pull behind camper set up at a truck stop, you know what the hell that's for.
Oh yeah.
Which is completely, I mean, it's pretty much legal prostitution. Cops kind of leave that alone as long as there's no like murder cases or anything coming.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of, they know what's going on.
Just gotta.
Yeah.
It's a subculture. They
It
know
is.
what they're
It
doing.
is.
It's self-regulating.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make a name for themselves, good or bad. And if something messes up, they're going to move along.
Right.
Yep. So anyway, back to hitchhiking, Wuornos,
So, yeah.
Yeah, so she's
86, I think we're at.
yeah. So in '86, again, she'd met this love of her life, this Tyria Moore, and all just seemed to be so good. Like these two were just Thelma and Louise in it, having a great time together
But things were quiet and good.
for 3 years. For 3 years.
And that was one thing in the movie. They kind of condensed that. And
Yeah, you
it
couldn't
seemed-
tell. It's like they fell in love and then all of a sudden.
It was like within weeks.
Yeah.
It seemed like, and they were on a crime spree. And
But yeah, nothing really much said about her for those 3 years.
Something had to have happened in those 3 years.
I'm
I'm
sure
thinking
they were
things like they go, again, bar
Broke.
fights, do whatever.
probably a little robbing people here and there.
Of
and
course.
that type stuff.
Of course.
Well, no, they said, yeah, she was still prostituting, just probably a little, like being smart about
Paying
it.
the bills.
Yeah,
Again,
sticking with the bars, sticking
they're
with
growing their
biker
little,
clubs.
They're growing the lesbian family,
And,
which is fine. It's what they want.
Tyria, I think also in the movie they showed that Tyria had kind of somewhat of a stable family background. So I think she went
Well,
to
her
her.
parents had sent in the movie that her
Yeah.
parents had sent her to down to Florida to live with this family because they caught her making out with a girl from church or from school,
Okay.
and they were like, "You need to be
Can't
fixed."
do that.
Yeah, so they sent her down there to kind of like fix her, basically to get her, basically thinking like
Like
being-
shock treatment.
Yeah, basically thinking being gay is something that needs that
Like
you
one of
can
those places
fix,
that that Pence went to.
right. They were like using.
They had to try to fix them.
Yeah. Their theory was, oh, we'll send you down there and get you straightened out and stuff. But she's the way she is, this and that. And it doesn't work like that. So her dad basically, I think it was her dad was still around. And this family that she was staying with was basically saying, like, we see you with this girl. We know what's going on. We're going to tell your dad. And she just made the decision, well, you know what?
Fuck it. I'm going to live my life.
I'm 18 and I'm doing what I want.
Yeah.
And this is the way I am. And it's just,
Well, good for her.
Yes. Yeah.
And
That
she
was-
chose wisely.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
She chose very wisely with a partner like Aileen Wuornos.
Mm-hmm.
So after 3 years of living together bliss, the murders begin. November 30th, 1989. Victim the first, Richard Charles Mallory. 51-year-old dude. Owned his own, self-made man, owned his own electronics store. Now, when caught by the police, not long after, Wuornos had claimed self-defense. She said that the dude beat, raped, and sodomized her after he'd wanted to engage her as a prostitute.
And she used that for a couple.
Right.
I think she kind of mixed the stories up and confused herself.
Well, that's the one in the movie. I was wondering, in the movie, the first murder, the guy, he picked her up. They went down like a dirt road, and she's like, "Where are we going?" Like, he's like, "Don't worry about it. I just want to go back here, so nobody bothers us." When they got back there, now this is according to the movie. In the movie, he had all kind of plans to torture, and he was like into that shit. He was actually, if this is the same guy, he was in prison and got out for
assault,
basically rape and assault of like somebody else. He was like
this is a match made in heaven here.
Right, he was a sadist, masochist, whatever. Where he would only way he could get off is by seeing her in pain, and they were drinking, and it finally came out. He was like, I'm just gonna tell you, the only way I'm be able to get off here is by seeing you in pain, and he started beating her, like hitting her over the head. Then he had her like tied up and bound to the steering wheel, and he was raping her and doing, sodomizing her, doing crazy
that's wild.
stuff. Yeah,
that is wild.
His plan was, I guess, to just basically torture her. I don't know if he was gonna kill her. I mean, maybe, probably, yeah.
But if somebody's doing that to you, I mean, you're going to defend yourself,
right? So in the movie, it's pretty graphic. I mean, they show
the gun shot and how he was, because he was shot numerous times.
So this is the seedy underground of prostitution, right? I mean, look, you're going to get what you pay for. But I should say no, maybe I'm thinking of the right phrase, the right colloquialism. So if the guy pays and he says, "Look, I want to do this, that, and the other thing to you," okay, but then what happens if you surprise? I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing too. Hey, wait, you didn't pay for that,
right? Yeah. In the movie, it started out as
she was like shot 3 times.
Is that what it was?
Yes,
in the chest.
In the chest. It punctured his lung.
This was if this is the same dude. 2 days after the murder, they found the dude's abandoned vehicle, but miles away from the vehicle. 2 weeks later, they found his body in the woods. And again, as Matt had indicated, he'd been shot several times.
Now, as you said, when they found the stolen vehicle, which she took the vehicles and used them to get, I mean, she hit a pretty big section.
Why hitchhike when you can murder the owner of a vehicle and just take the car? They made a whole video game about this.
Yes. Well, also at this point of her life, she's getting older. She's not getting as much money, she's not getting as many hits. Like, people aren't picking her up. So her girlfriend there was like, "Look, you need to make your side of the rent here and money, and you're not holding up your end of the bargain." So she's getting desperate. And I guess with this guy, when she ended up killing him, it was out of, according to her, what she said is what happened. She was the only one that was there that could tell us this, but she got all that money out of his wallet then and was like, "Holy shit, like, look how much money I just made." She was really excited. She took the car and took some of his belongings and took the car back to where they were staying at, like some hotel or motel or whatever. And was like, "Look what I got, blah, blah, blah. The guy was raping me and beat me.
Rent's on me."
Yes.
And her girlfriend questioned it. She was like, "Where did you get that car?" Because that was one of the first things she said when she got her to confess.
Right.
But this was one of the key points when she was stealing the car. The cops were trying to think, they started finding these stolen cars, and they saw that the seat was moved up farther.
Yeah, so it had to be
and they were thinking at first like the height kind of thing, and she was 5'4".
She wasn't laid back.
No, yeah, she was not. No. She was not driving.
Well, they were thinking it had to be a man because of moving the bodies and doing all that. They were thinking like.
But then they said they started seeing these signs, and then they knew that she was also taking stuff. Like she was stealing, she was killing and stealing because they were missing like wallets, money, stuff from the car.
They were thinking initially it was a drug deal going bad or something like that.
Pulling the bodies out of the car,
and they're moving the bodies and doing all kinds of stuff. They were just trying to come up with like an MO, like who could this be?
But that was one of the things I think they said. Like they were like, "Well, why is the seats always moved?" They're like, "That's."
Well, there was an eyewitness then too. We'll get
to that.
Oh yeah. So we were talking about this, and I'm just thinking this whole time in the background. You've got this woman who at this point is 33-ish, 33 years old. I gotta wonder what the hard life she's had up until this point, what kind of impact that's had on her looks.
That's what I was saying.
Looks,
Yeah.
hygiene, everything, right? So let's go an extreme example, right?
Well,
So you got some kind of crackhead or cokehead or whatever, like their teeth are going to start rotting out. So in this case, you got a prostitute that probably doesn't have the best diet, doesn't have the best workout regimen,
Right.
with the exception of the old sex for money.
Like
But-
top of her class in the Ramirez School of Beauty.
Yeah, precisely. So I gotta wonder, as the elasticity of skin goes away, once you hit a certain age, I gotta believe that for this one, she gotta be like leather by now.
Oh yeah.
But go
Just
through
leather.
the list of the 7 Johns who she's picking up. They're not young men. They're not good looking dudes.
That's true.
Like
That's true.
they're looking for stuff on their caliber, something they could afford.
Yep.
So it's all working out.
It's a
Like,
value play.
Yeah, it's not like you have if you look at the guys, there's not like many 21-year-olds going to pick her up for an evening out.
Right. They're shopping at Kohl's, not
Yeah.
Macy's.
Yeah.
Right.
I got it. So let's see. Oh, a few months later. Now
So she got what they needs, and it's irrelevant everything else pretty much.
there's that.
Yeah.
A few months later, 5-6 months later, May 19th, 1990, we come to victim number 2, David Andrew Spears. So 47-year-old construction worker. A couple of weeks afterward, they find on June 1st, they found his naked body on a roadside. He'd been shot 6 times by a .22 caliber pistol. So I guess when I say May 19th of 1990, that's when he was reported missing.
Right.
Dude's not showing up for work, whatever. Bam. 2 weeks later, dead on the side of the road. 6 bullets.
So then she moves on. She moves on from there.
Yeah, she sure does. So she moves on from there to like 2 weeks later, May 31st, 1990. She comes across Charles Edmund Karskadin. This is a 40-year-old part-time rodeo worker.
It's a tough job.
Look, man, not for nothing. I think when I retire, I'd like to work at the rodeo.
Work at the.
Either that or drive the Zamboni for the Chicago Blackhawks.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
But hey, part-time rodeo. Why
Yeah.
not? So they found this poor guy having been shot 9 times. With
9
Jeez.
times.
9 times. Same thing.
Bueller reference.
That was a Bueller reference. With a .22 cal weapon. Same
Yes,
motive, same holes
caliber, same
as the previous
which
guy.
also is building up towards capturing.
Yep.
They actually found this guy wrapped in an electric blanket.
And an electric blanket.
Yep. I can't
Those
say,
were big in the 80s,
I'm
early
kidding.
in the 90s.
I'm sure from not an electric blanket. I'll use a heating pad from time to time. I don't
Heating
know
pad.
if
No, not an electric blanket,
electric
though.
blanket.
Those were big, though.
Yeah.
like water beds.
Yeah.
Oh.
Water beds are big too. Yeah.
All gone. Well, so here we go. Back to the old MO of GTA. She took this guy's car.
Right.
About a month later, in June 1990, Peter Abraham Symes. This is a 65-year-old retired seaman. Now that means
What?
sailor. Sailor, everyone,
Right.
sailor. He goes missing in June. On the 4th of July, 1990, they found his car. Now they found his car. They're asking around, and people end up reporting that Wuornos and her girlfriend had actually been seen in the car.
Yeah. It was the silver. Was it a Pontiac or something?
Is that what it was?
Yeah. It was like a Pontiac. Not what's the little 4-door, like a Sunfire or it looked something like that. You know, I'm
Okay.
talking like a sedan,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
an
yeah.
early '90s Pontiac.
Okay.
It was one of those.
Now, was
I
she
think.
charged with this murder because they could not find the body? This was the one that was not counted as.
So they never. So that's true. And this
Okay,
is this. We'll
okay.
call this one the halvesy.
Yes.
We're not sure, but her palm print was found in the interior door handle. But yeah, as Matt had alluded, poor Peter's body was never found.
Was never found.
I wonder what she
There
did
was
with that one.
There was an eyewitness that saw them two driving down the road erratically, and they wrecked the car. And she
Again,
had
just-
a description of them. Yeah.
Just Thelma and Louise in it.
right.
That could have been a backroads one, like maybe in a marshy area, like with the gators and stuff in Florida.
Well, the eyewitness saw them wreck, and then they got out and they were arguing. finish their beers.
Oh,
throw
that
their
was
beers
also in the
out.
movie. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was like on an open road too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I really got to see this movie.
It's good. Like I said,
It is.
Charlize
It's well done.
Theron did a phenomenal job.
Christina Ricci also was like really good in it. I mean, it was big actresses and a good cast.
No, it was good.
Okay.
Maybe a
Yeah.
review on that. When was it filmed?
2004.
Oh,
Yeah.
Christina Ricci, is that the blonde girl that was in Sleepy Hollow?
She
Yes.
was, yes. But
she's in a lot of movies.
yeah, she's normally brunette, darker hair. She was in like the Addams Family, I think.
Oh, that was
back in the day.
that was
Addams
gonna be my
Family,
follow up. Was she Wednesday in
yes.
the Addams Family? Yep.
Was she in
And
Black Snake Moan?
Also
Who
in
was that?
Black Snake Moan,
Yes.
which is
Have never seen it.
Samuel L.
it's
Jackson.
very much worth seeing. I'll
Yes,
just say that.
it's a must see.
This isn't Snakes on a Plane.
no,
No,
this
no,
is
no,
Black
no.
Snake Moan
Okay.
with Christina Ricci. And I think Justin Timberlake's in
Justin
it.
Timberlake is
Yeah.
in it. Yes.
Right.
Is this a sex thing?
Yeah, it kind of has
It
a
could
lot of
be.
sexy time in it.
Yeah.
But
But it's-
Christina Ricci, she's actually really good in that movie. I think
Yes.
that she was up for awards in that.
All right. So Black Snake Moan, I need to put that on my list.
Also,
on
she
your
was
list,
in
yeah.
for anybody out there listening. There's a movie called Pumpkin with Christina Ricci,
Yes, yeah, right.
which is an excellent. It's a fantastic movie. Like if your significant other, if you guys are chilling, you want a movie night, you got to watch Pumpkin. You and your wife should watch it. You and your wife should watch it.
Is it like a love story or something?
No, it's not. It's just it's
He's
so
probably just messing with it. It's like some kind of Halloween murder movie.
No. It's with Christina Ricci. It's called Pumpkin. It's a name that they give to this gentleman that she falls in love with. But
Okay.
it's kind of an off the wall.
Is it a comedy or something?
It is. It's kind of like a comedy, but a drama, like
Okay.
a dramedy.
Dramedy.
Okay.
Yes,
All right. I'll have to check that out.
Okay. Pumpkin and Black Snake Moan.
yes.
All right.
On it.
That's 2 for movie nights.
Man,
Family couple movie night.
look at
Yeah.
that.
Well, Black Snake Moan, no, probably
No.
wouldn't be, but
Well, no. It's an
I mean,
adult.
it's- yeah.
It's an adult movie.
What a great podcast. Come for the true crime. Stay for the movie recommendations.
yes, you never know what
we,
you're gonna
yeah,
get. You
yeah.
know
We
what I
bounce
mean?
off that.
It's
Right.
awesome.
We need a train sound effect. You know, I can just play it and then like a
No.
off the rail thing.
Oh, I get it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like woohoo, like good time, like woo woo.
no, like a choo choo. You know.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
That's the signal to pull everybody
Yeah.
back on
Oh,
track.
hey guys, the train's here. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's hilarious. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. So let's see. Where did we get it? Getting the train back on the tracks. Oh, we left,
June, Orange Springs.
we left poor Peter with
Peter
a-
Simmons. Siemens.
The seaman.
the seaman. That's correct. Symes, Siems.
Yes.
Symes, the seaman. His body was never found, but his car for damn sure was stolen, and they found her print, etc., etc. They saw her and her girlfriend
Eyewitness. Yep.
driving down the road erratically. We then come to
Well, hold on. Before that, out of that
shit.
came the
oh snap.
out of that came the sketches. Because remember, they went to that girl and
Oh yeah.
they started.
said, what do they look like?
Yes, and she had. I mean,
Footwear.
what the-
Footwear.
I don't know
no,
about
not Skechers.
Oh.
It's Skechers. She said, I'm not
Yeah,
sure about that.
Skechers.
Yeah, I missed it.
Yeah.
No, it was they put out a police sketch, and it kind of had them. I mean, if you would see them too, you would know exactly
Right.
who they were just by the sketch.
They were just
it's crazy how they do
She
it.
was taller. The other one was
Yeah, it
shorter.
was shorter, but the
chubbier,
face was kind of. She had a scar, which was the main thing.
the main thing. Yeah, that they were able to.
She had a scar on her head, and people were like, I think there's a scar.
And did they go to like a convenience store or somewhere and they found a receipt or something and they went
In the back of the one car, yes,
Yeah.
it was a receipt.
and they went in and they were like, "Hey, did you happen to see people fitting this description?" And they were like, "She's like, yeah, they were in here."
Oh, it was at a They went to the convenience store where it was low, and they showed the sketch, and they showed the man. They said, "Did you see this guy?" And the lady was like, "No, I don't remember that person." And they showed the sketch. She's like, "Oh yeah, I remember them
those
too."
two. Yep.
Yeah, they were arguing or something like that, or something, and they were like, "Oh, okay."
So they're
Cats fighting,
Yep, they're starting to close in. They
Yes.
know what they're looking for now. I think.
slapping each other's boobs.
Yep.
Did we get to the pawn shops yet?
We're getting there. So, wait. Let's see.
We're at
We're-
July 30th,
Oh,
Marion County.
We're in July 31st, July 30th, July 31st, 1990. Man goes missing by the name of Troy Eugene Burris. So this is a 50-year-old sausage salesman. This is the Sausage King of Florida.
Sausage. Another Bueller. Wow, that's two
How
two
about
for
that?
one.
So this is I don't want to blow this off. I mean, this is a murder, but nothing as exciting as some of the others because they found his body just in a wooded area after he'd been shot twice.
22 cal.
Next, 2 months later, a month and a half later, on September 11th, 1990, that is the day that we find Charles Richard, a.k.a. Dick Humphreys.
Okay.
He is 56 years old at the time. He is a retired U.S. Air Force major, a former state child abuse investigator, and a former chief of police.
And a John.
And a John.
Well,
Maybe what they did do is they found this poor 56-year-old dead after having been shot 7 times in the head and torso.
I will say, Matt, like what you said, we're getting into some of these guys here.
Never forget Charles Dick Humphreys.
Yes. She was saying all these guys were propositioning her for sex, but some people were saying like his family, this guy in particular, I remember because of his job. Now, you cannot always judge somebody's character by where they work, what they do, and all that. Like, you never know what somebody's up to, but his family was like, there's no way that he would have picked up a prostitute. Maybe he saw her hitchhiking and picked her up.
Wanted to help her?
Wanted to help her. And then, like, basically what they were saying is for a couple of these guys that there's an outside possibility that maybe she got picked up, not for sex, but just to be like a friendly, nice, like, hey, let me give you a ride.
And I think this gentleman, I think in the one on Netflix that you told me about, they did have the wife was saying, I don't know how or what. Right. Yeah. So maybe like, he was just a kind
wrong
person.
Place, wrong time, and just trying to be nice. And
he's again a retired, serviceman, a child abuse investigator. So obviously, all right, look, last thing I'm doing is touching anything inappropriately.
Right.
And a former chief of police, for Christ's sake.
Right.
It sounds pretty squeaky clean to me.
Right.
Chief of police, the hitchhiker probably wanted to see if she was okay. He probably saw, like you said, a woman on the side of the road. Now that all makes sense.
And maybe pulled a gun on him. Like, hey, pull over. And
hey, pull over. He's like, hey, what's going on? I'm just trying to help. And then it's 7 times. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here we are to number 7. Lucky number 7, or I should say unlucky number 7.
Unlucky.
Walter Gino Antonio. This is a 62-year-old trucker, security guard, and reserve police officer. This guy was, alas, found dead, having been shot 4 times.
In the back of the head.
And that was if he was working, if that's the guy, the truck driver, that was why he was working. They were saying that it was on his lunch break. And like he was actually working for, if this is the same guy and that's the same type thing, they were saying, why would this guy be picking up a prostitute like
on his lunch break with like 20 minutes? Yeah.
Right. And he was I think this was the same one they were talking about, but I mean, who knows? They just know she was the only one that was there and she gave her stories and we're like, no, these guys were, propositioning me for sex or,
You can do a lot in 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying this as a 46-year-old white guy here. Like, you can do a lot of shit in 20 minutes with regard to the sexy stuff.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah.
Like, I'm good in 2.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I remember it's funny, just not off topic, but quick little tidbit. I remember in school, this was in 8th grade, and we had a sister who was actually taught my dad. So that was the age. She was probably.
So by sister, you mean nun?
Nun,
right?
Yes, okay. A nun. So she was probably in her mid to late 70s at this time.
Uh-huh.
And we were all goofing around. She's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, getting ready to leave class. She's like, there's 5 minutes left in class. And we're like, yeah, we're getting ready to go. She's like, do you know how long 5 minutes are? And so she said, I want you guys to sit and look at the clock. She's like, there's 4.5 minutes left, quietly, and tell me how long 5 minutes is. So I remember sitting there. If you actually sit and look at a clock for 5 minutes, it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Right. So I got to go off on this tangent too, and I know we're getting closer. So I remember dropping acid in high school.
Ew.
Like it's what you did.
Yes.
So I thought it was like around lunchtime or middle of the afternoon, and I had to have detention that day. I was in detention for whatever reason, probably swearing. Anyway, the acid kicked in. And I counted every second that went by the entire time I'm sitting in detention.
An hour?
So an hour.
Ow.
I just sat there watching the clock handle tick, just tripping balls.
How'd you not freak out?
I kept calm, just counting the seconds.
Right.
Were you hearing it too, like that?
Oh, God. It was ridiculous. It was awful. It got louder and just got worse and worse. I bugged out of there as fast as I could.
Oh, I bet.
I have used that on my kids though too. They were like,
acid?
No,
no.
Let's cut back. No, of actually looking at a clock, like just watching like an old fashioned clock, just sit there and tick for like a minute, because that's a long time. Just
Right.
you can pick up your clothes or do whatever in a minute. It doesn't take long. Just do it. But
That's true.
two
Right.
cool stories about time.
Yeah.
Chalk it all up to stupid kids doing stupid things.
Yes.
We all live and learn. I guess we get back to, so now after the 7 murders, what we have here is this woman murdered 7 men in a matter of a year, approximately a year, between ages of 40 and 65. They were just, dudes just driving cars.
So in this time, you found a palm print, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The police have a sketch. What were some other key factors in her capture?
Well, those were like the major ones were the sketch and the bullet. They were matching up, like
Matching
the
up
gun
the
was the
22.
same and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then did they at some point have like a pawn shop that they
Yes,
that
that's
they
we
found
have
some
not
stuff?
mentioned.
Yeah.
And it was under the alias she had, Cammie Marsh Green.
Yeah, because she's in the system, but
Mhm.
I'm sure it's like under different names. And,
When you
that type of
mentioned, when I'd heard mention of the pawn shop, I thought we were talking about one of the Johns or one of the victims might be a pawn shop owner.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
No, she was stealing.
But that was not the case. We
No.
just went through all 7 of them,
Right.
and none of them owned a pawn shop.
No,
she was stealing, and she would go to the pawn shops to pawn off these different things. Now, at some of the pawn shops, they asked for a thumbprint.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're selling, so if somebody came back like a cop,
Yeah, we talked about that in Night Stalker. Yeah.
Mhm. So there was a thumbprint on the one. The one they didn't have it. They're like, man, we're out of luck. And they said, oh, there's another one from this whatever it was. What did I just say?
The alias.
Green, yes.
Green.
And so we have Miss Wuornos.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had her thumbprint under the alias of Miss Green
Mm-hmm.
on this pawn shop paper. The cops ran it. I think it took them 15 minutes to get a match.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have the name. And do you remember what happened from there?
I just remember them tying it all together basically off the thumbprints. And then they didn't, I mean, she was going to be hard to track down because she's like just a nomad. Is that what you say? Like a nomad. She's just kind of like traveling around.
So they
And
put
investigator. They brought in like that guy, right?
They put in a bunch of undercover cops in these bars in Daytona, in these Florida biker bars.
Well, they brought in a guy, a specialist, and
specialist.
they were like, he was like, if you want to catch this girl, you got to go where she's gonna go, and that's bars. He's like,
Because that's where she finds her victims, and you
Right.
got to get in there.
That's
Right.
where she finds cue balls to throw at the bartenders as
Right.
well.
yep. So she's basically hanging out at bars and all that.
And they said they got to hit the one guy that was in there was an undercover, but he wasn't the specialist guy. The guy that looks like, because the guy that they had, it was very, he has a very unique biker look. Like the guy belongs there. You would never know. Probably he was in his 50s or maybe in late 40s.
Right.
But he had like the beard, the
whole
long
look.
hair, like wore the cowboy hat.
They were skeptical. They were like, this is like finding a needle in a haystack.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many bars in Daytona Beach and all these different areas and stuff. They're like, how are you ever going to track her down? But
But the guy said,
Sure enough, they did.
Yeah, he was a specialist for a reason. He said,
Yeah.
we'll find her in one of these bars.
Mhm.
And I think it took like 2 weeks or something like that, they said.
it wasn't very long.
Yeah, like
but
a
they-
week or two.
So in January 1991, Aileen was arrested for that. She was arrested in a biker bar.
Mhm.
Okay.
On an outstanding warrant. And then amazingly, the next day they located her girlfriend.
Yes. Yeah.
And so now here comes the twist. Like it's over.
Mm-hmm.
So the girlfriend, oh God, Tyria.
Tyria.
So Tyria is,
Diarrhea.
she
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
She caves quickly.
Right.
She
wants
absolutely
nothing to do
caves
with
quickly. She said, look, this woman is fucking batshit crazy.
Mhm.
This woman is bananas. She murders people.
And she was back in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's
Yeah.
right. They picked her up in Scranton.
Yeah.
But she's like, I'm not going to jail.
Yeah.
She's like, she better. But the lady said she had nothing to do with it, even though she knew about it. But she had nothing to do with the
Nothing to do
murders.
it. Well, they had her, and she was cooperating, and they were like, if you get Aileen to basically confess,
Yep.
like we'll give you immunity and all
Yep.
that.
And she
so-
did tell her. She said,
Yep.
Go ahead.
That's right.
She said, hey, I'm going to go to jail if you don't say something. She's like, I'll tell him right away. And then within a couple hours, she or whatever that called. What do they say? Tweeting like a bird.
Chirping, yeah.
Or what the hell's that called?
something like a canary.
Yes.
Singing like a canary.
Singing
There
like
you
a
go.
canary.
Singing like a canary.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was so in the meantime, right, she's trying to get a hold of her. Look, left messages, blah blah blah. Please help me. Please, I can't be associated with this. I'm associated with you, but I don't want to go to fucking jail because I didn't kill anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then looks like 3 days after that, middle of January on the 16th, Wuornos confessed to the murders.
To everything. Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw.
she said that any one of the men that she killed had attempted to rape her, and she killed all of them in self-defense.
Which, like, some people don't believe. You know, some people are like, you know, that's what I'm saying about a couple of them guys. And she would flip-flop back and forth on her stories and stuff like that.
But they did have a quote from her, and she said, "I robbed them and I killed them as cold as ice, and I would do it again. And I know I would kill another person because I've hated humans for a long time."
Yeah, she was.
That was during her.
But they played the phone call. So they had set her girlfriend up in a hotel.
Yeah, that was on the show.
And they were like, hey, you know, we'll wait for her to call you. And they had it tapped. And you could tell, like, she loved this girl. You know what I mean? She was like, crying, like, oh, I don't want to go to jail. She's like, you're not going to go to jail. I'll confess to everything, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I think she knew at that point, you know, I'm not getting out of this, and I might as well not ruin her life for, you know, what I'd done. I don't know, though. Like, she had to have known. This girl had to have known what was going on, but do you think she was maybe just scared and didn't want to turn her in, or do you think it was just like, you know, I'm talking about the girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, they loved one another, and they lived together, and they had all kinds of fun. But I gotta believe for Tyria's sake, that, you know, reality kicked in.
Yeah,
Like, your girlfriend is a murderer.
Murderer, yeah.
Something bad's gonna happen here.
This might happen to you next.
Yeah,
So
fun
just
times
put
are
her in
over.
there.
Yeah, here's the fork in the road. You're either gonna go this way or this way.
And I know that Aileen was trying to justify all the murders to her, saying basically these guys tried to rape me. And I
Yes.
just kind of, you know, and maybe in her head she's like, oh, well, they can't had it coming, or, you know, I don't know, but yeah,
But I think Tyria was also blind. Like, she was like, maybe these guys are trying to hurt you, like, but you were just trying to, you know, turn a trick, and these guys try to rape and kill you, and she probably had her believing it. But she was eventually convicted of what, murder for,
I think it was like
7
6.
counts.
So she was originally her first murder trial was for the first guy she killed, Richard Mallory. So in this case, while the trial was just for this one guy, the police brought in all this additional evidence that was, well, she's also suspected of this, and she also did this and that and the other thing. And I mean, this trial happened quickly. It was within 2 weeks. It was 13 days later. She was convicted of his murder with the help of Tyria, who returned state's evidence. So yeah, she just, you know, gave it all away.
She was in court, and they said that Aileen wouldn't look at her. She just kept looking down at her, you know, twirling her fingers and not paying, you know. I think she felt betrayed, but I mean, what do you expect? I mean, the girl's gonna, you know,
So yeah,
self-preservation
and then she was sentenced. Are we there yet?
So yeah, I mean, we're at the sentencing where at this point, you know, they're trying to pull everything out of the, you know, everything in the book. Oh, well, she's, you know, she's crazy. She's, you know, she's got personality disorder. She's antisocial. She had a really bad, you know, childhood, blah, blah, blah. Won't you please have mercy? Nope. 4 days later, she was sentenced to death.
Florida don't fuck around now.
No, they don't.
They do not. They do not.
No. Yeah.
That's what it's funny. Today at work, we actually had to talk about Florida because we were saying the people brought in some deer bologna because of hunting season, I guess, and they just had it butchered.
Yep.
But in Pennsylvania, you can't buy deer from a store. You have to hunt it. Did you know that?
I did not.
You cannot buy venison at like Carnes.
I've seen venison, like beef sticks and stuff. Or venison, not beef sticks, but venison sticks and stuff.
I'll give you that. That you're not buying raw deer steak, raw dog at a grocery store. However, I have gone to, there was a restaurant that's up 81. It's in Jonestown.
We ate there. Yeah.
It was right where 81 and 78 split, and it was right.
They have like
right
alligator
there.
and they have
correct. It was all exotic meat shit, and one of them was venison.
Oh, okay.
But again, now that's cooked and prepared something.
Yes.
So there may in fact be some kind of cross-contamination concern, or
Something.
the fact that it hasn't been checked, regulated, in some way,
USDA type
right,
shit.
right,
Yeah,
exactly that.
Yeah.
It's right in your raw dog butcher case where you're not going to see that.
But anyway, long story short, brought up in Florida. Like you can pretty much kill. You can kill whatever the hell you want. Like you can sell it to anybody. You can cook it like on the side of the road. You kill an alligator. Hey, anybody want any alligator?
Shop.
Yeah, give me $10, and it's completely cool.
That's crazy.
But then like here, we're all like legal.
Yeah, they have rules
for some deer.
Oh, that's crazy though. But Where were we at anyhow?
Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, this poor broad was sentenced to death.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
She's lethal injection. I think they gave her.
Right, but then she.
I was going to say, so not long after, they're already going for the appeal.
Yeah, she's trying to appeal.
They're trying to appeal. Like, look, man,
No.
this guy he was check his record. I told you that this guy came after me and I killed him in self-defense. Look at his record.
Yeah, none of that came up
This-
in the trial.
This guy had, yeah, isn't that interesting? So this guy, might have been convicted for attempted rape, or he might have done this, that, and the other thing, or he might have been convicted for sex offenses. And in fact, when they looked back on the correctional institution, on his his rap sheet, when they look at his criminal record, they found that from 1958 to 62, he had been committed for treatment observation, resulting from a charge of attempted rape, and this, that, and the other thing. So I mean, they're really trying to grab
straws. She's a murderer.
Yeah,
Can't get her.
But that's just one of the,
Yeah.
that was it though. That was just it. But amazingly enough, or I should say, not so amazingly, the judge says no. You're really grasping at straw here. It's done. It's over.
And there was a point where she gave up and was like, "I just want to die," right? And she was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
That might have come after.
Yeah, she did. She said, I'm done. Yeah, because they went for another appeal. She was like, I don't want it.
She changed and said, "Look, I did everything. I did blah, blah, blah. Let's move
killed
this
him.
along. And I just want to die." She
And that's-
basically was ready to.
October 9th of 2002 at age 46.
Whoa! We've still got plenty to get there before we get there.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, sure. So she had. What? Well, so wait.
Eh?
You're going to 2002 from 92?
Yeah, she was just sitting in jail.
Well, in the meantime, she had been, she had been convicted of killing the one guy. But then, not but a couple months later, at the end of March of 1992, Aileen pleaded no contest to the murders of Charles Humphreys, Troy Burris, and Dave Spears.
Well, see, that's what Dave was saying. Like, I think she just started just telling, like, you know what, because they were asking for appeals. She's saying, I did it. Like, let's,
I see. And I was going from the topic of, well, they're trying to throw everything they can at trying to get her off of the conviction of the first one. And then again, it's just not but months later, she's being tried for the remaining murders. She pleaded no contest. Now, she had basically said that the first guy for which she went to jail and got the death sentence, that Richard Mallory, she said, look, this guy, I assure you, he raped me. He raped me, and I killed him. But these other three guys, well, they didn't quite rape me. They got started, but they didn't rape me.
They paid me, and I was going to have sex with them.
And not but months later, she got 3 more death sentences.
It's compelling.
I get maybe conceptually the idea of compounding life sentences, where in the idea of, you can't get off of a life sentence, but sometimes you do. So I can get the idea of compounding life sentences where they're going to give you, look, there's no chance in hell
That you're getting out.
you're going to get it out of let's say a Dahmer length, multiple life
900
sentences.
years.
Yeah, correct. Like, there is no way in hell you're getting out.
Mm-hmm.
How can you get multiple death sentences? Because that one, you only get one.
Well, no,
They just
because
keep bringing you back, killing you.
the family wants closure, so they want to hear, that she's getting something for what they did to a member of. Do you get it?
They want their justice.
They want
and
their
closure.
justice.
I
Yes,
got it.
and it's the state or the federal, whoever, a state case or whatever, I guess, had this. It's their job to convict her for the crime that she had committed.
Gotcha.
Could you
You can't-
imagine if they did that? If they
You get it? Yeah, it's like I had to read about that a while
What?
back.
Take the corpse and
like bring them
electrical
back to
chair.
life.
Oh,
like
shit.
like kill them to the point where they're dead,
Like
but then bring them
flatlining.
back. Yeah, and then bring them
Flatliner, yeah.
back, and then kill them again, and then bring them back. You know what I mean? Just keep.
That's a lot of
until you-
doctors and
until
a
you
lot of
get-
time.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking
That's some
like
vicious
that
shit.
would be awesome.
right, but you think like
You
six?
could get that on pay per view.
That would be so cool.
Any pay per view
like they
deals.
shock
for,
you back to life, and then
Kill you again.
Yeah, kill you
Mhm.
again.
Oh man.
Just thinking about this, where somebody killed 7, 8, whatever.
And someone gets 7 death sentences, or in this case, as of now, she's at 4 death sentences.
What do you mean? Die, then like clear, boom.
Resuscitate.
Yeah,
them,
resuscitate,
kill them
die.
again. He sets it.
That's
You know what I mean?
That's some vicious shit.
That would be awesome.
It would be crazy.
I can't stop thinking about that. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I mean, people are evil that you know what I mean? But we live in a civilized culture, so they're probably not going to do
See,
that.
and that's bullshit. I
Yeah.
say do that.
Yeah.
Let's scare people not in, to
There'd
not do bad things. Because if
yeah.
you do bad things, this is what's going to happen.
things.
Well, that's
will
other
happen, yeah.
countries. Like, I stole this piece of candy. Oh, you were caught. Let me cut your hand off.
Then you'll think
And
about
then
it.
you're not stealing anymore.
I like
Yeah.
that country.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot like that.
I mean, it would make you think about it if you're
Yes.
going to do it, you know. But, yeah, that's crazy. But I know she, at some point, like we said, was just done with it. She's like, I'm just going to die. You know,
Instead
I'm
of
gonna
killing
die.
somebody, I got a really good lawyer, so I'm just going to either get completely off or maybe get like 6 months or a year with a year probation,
Right.
depending on how much money you've got.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
It happens.
Well, at this point,
So yeah,
at this point, we're getting to the point where it's just crumbling.
It's night night.
So she's now got 6 death sentences. Again, I would love to do that resuscitation thing. That's
Yeah.
cool as hell. So she's got 6 death sentences, and it's interesting. She ended up to confessing more than was necessary. That is to say, so she got the death sentence for killing the first guy, and she ended up over the course of time that we'll get to. She ended up being on death row for like a decade.
I was like, when are we getting to that?
So, well, very soon we're going to find out, that she's going to die.
Right.
I mean, with 6 death sentences, it's going to happen eventually.
Yes, it's going to happen.
But she ended up mentioning she was being interviewed by a filmmaker, and she mentioned to him, like, look, not for nothing, all those guys did rape me. Like, they raped the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to make it more gruesome because, look, I've been on death row for however long now. I want to get this over with. Like, I'm tired of being on death row. It scares me. It sucks. It's just, I can't stand it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Tupac said the same thing.
Yeah, I'll just confess to a bunch of stuff,
Right.
or at least again make it
Like made up
seem-
stuff, you mean? Or just.
So yeah, so like she initially had said, well, this guy didn't rape me. They were about to rape me. She later on said, you know what? They all raped me. They all raped me. Wait, no. I'm sorry. No, scratch that. Reverse it. She said the first guy raped her, but the other guys did not.
Mm.
In reality, what did happen was they all did rape her.
Mm.
And she's saying she wanted to keep the rape part out and make it seem more intent on wanting to kill them.
Nothing, no motive or.
Correct. No motive. No, tit for tat.
Mhm.
Nothing like that. It was just, I want to make this as gruesome as I possibly can. That way I'll get off the death row faster.
Yeah, they just get rid of me and be done with it. You
Yeah.
know? That's crazy.
Before we get to her last, time on death row and her execution, there's a little fun fact. So they do when you have these multiple killings or even just a one killing, they're going to do a psychopath test.
Mm-hmm.
She scored 32 out of 40.
Is that like? Do we know what like the
30,
Dahmer, like what he'd get?
So 30 is passing, which means 30 means you are officially a psychopath.
So it's like
So what you get, like a B plus?
Yeah, I would call that a
is
call
she
that a
top
B
of the
plus.
class. Like who would be top of the class? Like Dahmer.
I think Dahmer might top that class.
Yeah, valedictorian.
You don't know. There's some serial killers like off the radar that like pop up if you do some research. These guys are just as out there
Right.
and got some crazy shit.
I don't know. From what we've done so far, I would say Dahmer definitely scores a 40 out of 40.
Yeah, he's tops. I would say.
It depends how hard the questions were. Maybe he was like
Right.
confused.
Might have been. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So she's on death row. We're in 92. We're moving along. Halfway through in 96, she actually had appealed to the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
Denied.
Of course. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Like,
That's what you had to say.
I'm really counting on you guys.
No, that's what I was saying. I had her killed 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
She's
So
dead already, man.
2002 is
Hold
when
on.
No, well, you're going through like the appeals, but we already talked about, like I was saying that was already brought up by all of us. We were saying, she went and said like this.
Well,
guy
I'm trying to
raped
get to
me.
the Cardi B shit. So
All right, let's go to Cardi.
Cardi B.
Cardi B.
I just heard a thing that she was on the one of her singles. I guess was the cover. Was Aileen Wuornos on the cover, like in handcuffs
Interesting.
on one of her singles. I just thought that was like a.
So she thinks she's
Fun
like a
tidbit.
bad bitch.
I guess he was digging
Yeah,
her or
or
whatever.
something.
You
I
know what I
don't
mean?
know.
Just in pop culture.
Yeah,
Aileen
the
Wuornos.
pop culture feel
Yeah.
where she like comes back out on like T-shirts and stuff like that.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look what happened with Dahmer and all that. you know, when they came back out with the Netflix series and stuff, he was like, people were wearing costumes and all kinds of stuff. So
I said, yeah, they had one at one of those stores that had like a funny neighbor or something like that.
Oh,
like,
you know, I looked for that. I couldn't
like
find
the
that.
Dahmer gear.
The Milwaukee beer guy.
Milwaukee beer guy.
I couldn't find because Amazon and like somebody, I think they said like they would not sell any of that stuff. Like it was just getting canceled and shut down, and they were not like the Dahmer shit.
Oh, after the Netflix show came out,
right? Because people were putting together costumes and stuff online, I guess.
So,
but Matt had referenced that there was an actual Milwaukee beer guy costume or something. But I couldn't find anything about
beer
that.
guy or neighbor.
Yeah,
like crazy neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
But October 9th.
Yeah, October 9th. But wait, before we get there,
2002, age 46.
Before we get there, I maybe this is
fun
why
fact.
It is a fun fact. It is possible, and maybe we could ask her someday if we ever see her. Maybe this is why Cardi B took a special interest to Aileen when her last interview. She said, and I quote, "You sabotaged my ass, society and the cops and the system. A raped woman got executed and was used for books and movies and shit."
Oh, yeah.
Her final on-camera words were, "Thanks a lot, society, for railroading my ass."
Oh, wow. Yeah. So she was
Figuratively
Ooh.
yeah.
And actually.
Mm-hmm.
and actually.
I know she had all kinds of
literally.
conspiracy theories and stuff that the police let her continue with the murders and all that. After the first one, they had her fingerprints. They knew who she was, and there was all kind of conspiracies that she had thought out. And but she passed all those tests. They were like, she's fit to be executed, you know. But
By fit to be executed, you mean deserving of execution?
no, well, they do like an evaluation, like you were talking about. I
To
guess
make
they
sure
go-
they're not crazy
Yeah.
Oh.
or
And,
that they knew exactly what they were doing
right,
at the time of
and
the murders.
She was found
She
to be
wasn't out in
fit,
left
even
field
with
somewhere.
all these, other,
Potential loopholes, all
Right.
this other stuff.
Mhm.
Nope. You passed the fitness test. You are eligible for execution.
right,
And P.S. You scored 32 out of 40 on the psychopath.
right.
Your award is the death sentence
Mm-hmm.
on October 9th
There
of
it is.
2002
October 9th.
by lethal injection.
And there it is. Thanks a lot. Thanks everybody for
All right,
tuning
good
in.
night. We love you.
Appreciate it.
Finally happened, right?
Yes. So yeah, Chick
Fun
was crazy.
fact.
Chick
Fun
was crazy.
fact. So again, of course, on October 9th, 2002, Aileen was put to death by virtue of lethal injection.
do you have her last words?
Thanks a lot, society, for railroading my ass.
That
Oh
was-
no, those were her last words on camera.
On
Yes,
camera.
before lethal injection.
No, it wasn't.
Do you have those?
No, I don't. But I know that she declined her last meal.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
Cup of
she
coffee,
said.
I
She
think.
said that's right.
Yeah.
Well done, Matt.
She wanted coffee.
Yep, just a cup of coffee.
Oh,
But in Florida, any last meal she could have had was up to a value of $20.
oh, it could only been up to 20.
Which is weird. Yeah, some states do
I'd
like
take
whatever.
I'd take a Big Mac value meal, honestly,
Mhm.
with like a sidecar of maybe like a 6-piece
Right,
with some sweet. I would get one sweet and sour sauce and one hot mustard.
a dipping sauce.
Yeah, if you haven't had it, don't sleep on either of those sauces. Like especially the hot mustard. That's something special.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
We don't
Sweet
feel
and sour. Use the fries though. Use the fries in it.
you don't think about that though when you're working through shutting down and all it just comes out your ass.
Yeah, well, what
True.
would I care if I'm dead?
Yeah, I know,
Mhm.
but a
Right.
little something less for the cleanup.
So what were her last words? Oh,
No, I it should be on there. I know she said something like off the wall, like batshit crazy.
I see what she said. Her last words were, "Yes, I would just like to say I'm sailing with the Rock, and I'll be back, like Independence Day, with Jesus. June 6th, like the movie. Big mothership and all. I'll be back. I'll be back."
Exactly.
So that's like a
Thank you.
reference to like Arnold, Independence Day,
Independence
the
Day
movie,
movie.
The Rock. I mean, it's all action stuff.
But yes, I knew she had some off the wall shit. But thank you.
That's
I was
that's
looking
like,
for
what does all that mean?
that. Nothing.
She was batshit crazy.
Right, yeah. Do you think the drugs were kicking in that they pumped her?
Maybe.
Yeah.
No, they wait on
yeah,
that.
I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think those drugs is like they slowly. I don't know the sequence, but really it just puts you to,
Puts
sleep,
you to
and then
sleep,
it kills you.
Kills you.
Okay.
Well, sedative real quick, sleep, kill.
Oh,
So you don't like shake around and shit
Right,
like
it's
that.
not-
Kind of numbs your
Murder, death, kill,
yeah.
okay.
as featured in Demolition Man.
So it's in comparison to the electrical chair. It's more
Lethal injection is more of a slow burn.
well, it's a slow burn.
unlike the electrical chair.
Dave and I were talking about
Just about
slow
the
burn
yeah.
earlier.
I'll get in trouble for that because she's getting tired of me saying slow burn all the time. I talk about the podcast.
Slow
How's it
burn.
going? It's a slow burn. It's a slow burn. It takes a while to
Shut
build it
up.
Yeah. But what I was saying is it's more of a humane, would you say?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, the electrical chair is probably
To be
pretty-
clear, yeah, like
That hasn't
so-
been done in a while. Like Texas, I think, in Florida.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, basically, between on the spectrum of being drawn and quartered,
Mhm.
and then
Hung.
hung, then maybe electrocuted, and then finally, way down at the bottom is lethal injection.
There's also a firing squad. It was still not
Firing
that
squad.
was performed not too long ago.
And hangings
No, hangings haven't been done, I think,
in a long time. The Blue-Eyed Six, they did that.
Wasn't the firing squad? Isn't how they did? No. Saddam was hung.
Mhm.
Saddam
Yes,
Hussein was
they
hung.
did him old school,
Oh, yeah.
nasty shit because
Yeah.
he deserved that.
Off topic, real quick. Electric chair. Do you guys remember a movie from the 80s called Shocker?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it just made me think of that.
He's the one that went through the outlets.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. He was electric. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So,
He'll get you.
but anyways, that was great. Good job once again.
Yes,
Taking
good
us through the
job.
story. You guys got anything else closing?
A lot of that was on the fly, but
Oh, it was
It
great.
was. So yeah, we
I'm glad we were
were.
able to pull it off.
It was fly for sure.
Mm.
No, it was great.
It was pretty fly for a dead guy.
no, then it was.
Yes.
I got to see this movie. So in my closure, I got to see this
on
movie.
Netflix.
This Charlize Theron movie.
Monster. Yeah.
It's on Netflix,
yes. Everybody
yeah.
watch that. It's a great flick. I just want to close with October 9th of 2002.
is when it goes down.
Lethal
We
injection.
finally got there.
Right.
Amen.
We took the long road.
So we'll be back next week with a new story. I guess that's it for now. Don't forget to find us on Facebook and Instagram at Old Dirty Basement. Check out our merch store. We have a link for that in our show description. Get that Old Dirty Basement swag, sweatshirts, T-shirts, all that good stuff. And find us on TikTok at Old Dirty Basement Podcast. I guess that's it for now. So we'll catch you where?
On the flip side,
If we don't see you sooner, we'll see you later.
peace. Thanks for hanging out in the Old Dirty Basement. If you dig our theme music like we do, check out the Tsunami Experiment. Find them on Facebook. Their music is available streaming on Spotify and Apple, and where great music is available.
You can find us at Old Dirty Basement on Facebook and Instagram, and at Old Dirty Basement Podcast on TikTok.
Peace.
We Audi 5000.